Okay, this video is going to show you how to make the parts for the big joint house assembly. I'm not going to assemble them here. I'm just going to show you how to build these parts. And in this video, we're going to do them as individual part files. We're not going to work through the assembly file. We could work through the assembly file using Create and build our parts within the assembly file using Create. This video is going to show you how to do them individually. And then later on you would place those files after you have them built. So in getting started, before you do anything, remember file management is the most critical piece to this, and so you want to make sure that you have created a folder for the big joint house. Ideally this folder should be either in My Documents or it should be in your TechEd server space, your student network server space. It needs to be on a network drive so you can access this outside of the classroom. So again, create a folder called Big Joint House. This is where you're going to save all of your work. So that being said, let's get started here. We're going to go up to, after we launch Inventor, you want to do a new part file. That's an IPT, a new part file. Okay, and this is where you're going to draw your first part. So considering what's expected of you, don't forget to take a look at your layout diagram where we measured all our parts. These are the part sizes, and so you're going to reference these part sizes as you build this. Part C is a 7-inch part. It's 3/4 inch stock, so it's going to be a 7-inch by 3/4 by 3/4 rectangle, and it's going to have cutout on it. It's going to have the rabbit cuts. They are 3/4 by 3/8, and the dado cut that is 3/4 by 3/8 in the center. So we'll start drawing that part. We come out here and launch a new 2D sketch. Clicking on 2D sketch, let's work with the front view. These planes right here match up with the view cube. So our front plane is looking this way, side plane is looking this way, and our top plane is looking here. So we're going to draw, I'm going to draw on the front plane, and I'm going to draw a rectangle that uses the center point 2-point here. So I'll have this in the center. Rectangle, match to the center. Oops, I didn't get on my little center dot there. Get on the center, pull out. Okay, and this is where we're going to go 7 inches, tab, 0.75, enter, and zoom that out. There's your rectangle. Now, you can either do this after you extrude it or before. I'm going to put my little dado pieces in here. Because I use the center, I know that, whoops, I want to go back to a corner rectangle here. We're going to go to a 2-point corner rectangle. Starting on this corner, I'm going to come out, and that going to the middle, I know is exactly 3/8. So we're going to do 0.75 as our length of that rabbit, and that is 0.375 as our height. Okay. I could mirror that on the other side, or I could just repeat the command. Since it was still open, I'll repeat the command. 0.75 and tab, 0.375 and enter. Since we have a dado in the center there, and I know where my center point is, I'm going to use a center point rectangle, and I'm going to match it right there to the midpoint. Okay, and what's most critical is that we go up the right side, so just do 0.75 and tab, 0.75 and enter. That's all you really need. That gives you your location. So we're going to check mark to finish the sketch. Okay, and with that sketch finished, now I can extrude this out to be its part. So extrude that profile. That cuts out each of the things. Don't select any of those, and we need to make sure we change the extrusion to be 0.75. That gives me a 7-inch by 0.75 or 3/4 by 0.75 rectangular part, and that is part C. Now let's make sure we save this. Click on the disk, and you're going to save this to your folder you just created. So that would be your Big Joint House folder. So we're going to put it in here, and we're going to call this part C. You're going to match it up as it appears. So that part has been saved, and now you're ready to move on to your next part. Our new part's open. We start with a 2D sketch. We're going to place that sketch plane on the front plane here. I'm going to make parts E and F. Simple rectangle here. Rectangle tool, snap to the middle. I'll make this vertical 0.75 as our width, and we are height of 4. Okay, and now really there's not much to parts E and F. Except for this hole. So we're going to extrude this, give it its distance of 0.75. Okay, and then you need to place the hole on it. And so you take the hole command up here, click on the face you're going to put that hole on, set the diameter of your hole to be 0.25. Okay, and the depth of your hole, which is going to be set, you're going to have to change termination here. It might be in through all. You want to change your termination to be a depth right there, and that depth is going to be 0.375. And now you need to position it or locate it. So we're going to use dimensions of 1.375 from the bottom, 1.375, and the dimensions of 0.375 from the side, and that locates that hole in the center. You say, okay, this part is created, and you just simply save that. So we'll go to save. This is part E and F. You don't have to make the part twice. You just make it the one time, and we'll drop it in. It goes into that folder. So there's E and F. Now we're going to make its new its horizontal partner, part D. We'll do a new part. Again, very similar. This is drawn as a new standard IPT. We're going to create that. Okay, and we'll start with a new sketch plane. Put that on the front view. Very similar again. Start with my rectangle. Okay, my rectangle here is 5.5 by 0.75. Okay, I zoom out here. Not much to this. It's a rectangle. Zoom out. We extrude that rectangle. 0.75. We say okay. Now in this one we got holes on the end, so same technique. Take hole, place it on the end there. It's going 0.375 in, 0.25. It remembers everything we did before. Now we just need to locate this 0.375 from either side there. So you're just clicking on the sides, 0.375, and say okay. You're going to do the same thing on the opposite end, and I'll spin this using my view cube. We're going to do hole, center right there, and from the side is 0.375 and 0.375. Say okay, and now that part's ready. So you just save that file, save. Okay, we're going to call this part D, and make sure it saves in your folder, and you're good with that one. Okay, next part we'll create is the dowel. I'm going to do a new part file. The dowel, very simple. Let's start with a 2D sketch. It really doesn't matter what plane we put this on. I'm going to draw a circle, and my circle is a 1/4 inch diameter, 0.25. Okay, I close this out, and I'm going to extrude this a distance of 0.75. That is all there is to making the dowel. So we're going to save that file, save, and we'll call that D-O-W-E-L, dowel. You only need one of those because we will drop that in our assembly. Okay, similar process. We're going to do a new part, new standard IPT. Sketch plan. This time we got parts A and B. I'm going to start with part B. Part B is the top of our roof here, and we say it's a 5-inch rectangle, although it's not exactly 5 inches. If you use Pythagorean theorem and you take half of 7, which is 3.5, and you square that and add the square of that because it's a right triangle, isosceles triangle, you're actually going to find that this is a length of 4.9497 4746. 4.94974746. Seems like a weird number, but in terms of precision with CAD, we do need to get it as accurate as possible. And so rather than typing 5 in there, I'm typing 4 point, and it does round it to 4.95. So that rectangle, I could extrude this and then put a fillet on this, or I'm sorry, a chamfer on this, my diagonal angle, or I could draw my diagonal in right now on the one end of the part. Maybe I draw my diagonal in here, and so I need it to go the distance. I need it to be a 45-degree angle, so I hit tab so I can set my 45-degree angle. And the line really doesn't, it just has to go through it, but at 45 degrees, I draw that in there, and the critical thing is I have a 45-degree angle. If I finish the sketch here, I extrude that part out, and I extrude it my 0.75, and then save this. This is part B, so File, Save As, and we're going to call this one part B, and hit save. Now the last part we got to do is part A, and so they'll go up and start a new part. So File, New, Part, and we're going to again start a 2D sketch plane. Okay, we'll do again our rectangle. Now, because we had that funny number last time, 4.94974,746, if you subtract 0.75 from that, which is the thickness of our stock, we're going to get 4.19974,746, which does round to 4.2, but getting exact as we can. Now this one, last one I put a 45-degree angle and I extruded that. This one I'm going to extrude here. I'm going to show you a solid modeling technique for putting an angle in called a chamfer. So first thing I have to do is extrude this. Extrude it to 0.75. That's my distance. Okay, now I'm going to put a chamfer on here. So that command's right here. Chamfer, the distance is 0.75 because that's the thickness of our stock. And the edge we'll put it on, we'll say, is right there. Okay, and then hit apply, and my part's ready. So the edge chamfer's there. I'm going to save this. This one was part A. File, Save As, and we'll save it to our folder, part A. Okay, now we have all our parts, the dowel, part B, part C, part D, part E and F, and part A are all saved in there. Now we are ready to build our assembly. And when you build your assembly, you're going to start a new file for that. File, New, and this time it's in IAM, which is an assembly file. And when you start out your assembly file, always place part C first. So you go place up here, and now you need to navigate to the folder where that part was. Okay, so the parts I just created for you are in here. And so I'm going to start with part C, open that, and place that. And you only need one of those, so hit escape. That one's in, and that becomes your grounded part, your initial part. You're going to do this for all your parts in that folder. You'll place a part A. Don't worry about it being in the right position. You're just going to put it out here, hit escape, place a part B, and open that. Again, don't worry about where it's going yet. Escape, place, let's do E and F. So we need two of those guys. So open that guy. There's one, there's two, hit escape. And we need we need to place part D. So we'll put part D in here. Oh, we forgot to draw part G. So that's something that we would add to our list too, our part G. Let's look up here. We got to place a dowel. We need two of those guys. Okay, one dowel, two dowels. Okay, and you would want to build a part G as well and have that in there. Look at my next video that shows you how to constrain these parts and join them together. Good luck with this process.